Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Andy with Precision, as you guys know, and I just want to come on and say, hey, we're not going anywhere. Long story short, we've been a little busy trying to get some more video content for you guys, and one of those things that we've been trying to work on is the ultimate gunsmithing bench on a budget. So stick around, we're going to walk you guys through what we did, and hopefully it'll give you guys some ideas and help you out a little bit. So guys, here's the bench. We try to make this as economic as possible, give us the best bang for our buck, and really try to maximize our investment on this. Now, this specific bench, I don't necessarily intend for it to be the last one that we ever build. However, it will last us for a very, very long time. If you're just a home gunsmith, you know, hobbyist, whatever, this bench will more than likely outlive you. At the end of the day, this thing is built rock solid, and we intended for it to be that way. It is probably over-engineered, but again, we want this thing to last and do everything we want it to do. So anyway, just to give you a little bit of heads up, this is completely dimensional lumber put together with screws. We use some PL400 construction adhesive for some of the joints, and you guys can see here, for example, these joints here are all glued and screwed together. So again, nice and strong, 4x4 legs. These cross members here are all 2x10s. The shelf bracket, I still need to put a little top on top of that, just to give us a little bit more storage down there, but I'm planning on just using some 1/2 or 3/4 inch plywood on it and call it good. But anyway, so that's just 2x4s on the bottom, right down there. Up there along the back is a 2x10, and another cross member over here is 2x10. Again, legs are all 4x4s. To give you a little bit of idea for the support down here, everything else is 2x6. So these members up here are 2x6. Here, you guys can hopefully see we put some cross members under there. And again, it's rock solid. It is way over engineered. I am able to stand and jump on this thing, no problem. I've done it actually to install the lights overhead, and we'll get into that in just a second. But for the time being, again, it is all dimensional lumber other than the top itself. Now the top is 1.5 inches approximately. It's just a butcher block countertop. I think Lowe's, Home Depot, one of the box stores I got it from. I don't really need a whole lot of support underneath it, but I did. Again, you never know exactly what you're going to put on this thing, and we don't want it to vibrate, anything like that. So to give you guys an idea of the overall size on this, again, it's way over engineered, but it is something that obviously with the 107 we want to have enough room to really mess around with that. If there's anything larger, we're working on multiple firearms at a time, cleaning equipment. Honestly, I've already used this thing to clean a couple pistols, and by the time you figure your tub of hops sitting there, you've got a couple cleaning mats, you've got your tools, all this and that, it can get filled up pretty quick. But just to give you an idea, we've got 74 wide, we got 30 deep, and this backsplash here is 1.5 inches thick. All we did, we got a 39-inch by 74-inch countertop and just ripped down one end. I didn't want it too deep, and we'll get into the ergonomics here in a minute, but I also didn't want to waste any of the entire slab that we got, and on top of that, I also did not want just especially little parts or anything rolling off the back, so that's why we put a little bit of a backsplash on here. Now the backsplash itself, 30 plus the backsplash is going to equal 39, so this backsplash is 9 inches tall. Subtract the 1.5 inches for the countertop, and we got 7.5 inches up there. Now to show you guys the construction detail on this, we put the 1.5 inch backsplash on here to begin with, and then we butted the 30-inch tabletop right up against there. Now because of that, and these 2x6s are also 30 inches deep, this gives us an 1.5 inch overhang. Because of that, we are able to clamp things down on this tabletop. Say we had a jig or something that we wanted to clamp down on here, we have the ability to do so. It also allows me to use this nifty little arm lamp magnifier. So I'm not planning on using the magnification too often, but having that extra little bit of light there will definitely come in handy. Now, another thing that we added on here is this power strip across the back. It's just a 4-foot power strip. Got it from Harbor Freight. Again, trying to be economical about this. Don't need anything super heavy duty. The only things I really have plugged into it for the time being, charger for the iPad, my phone maybe if I'm sitting here. I do have the lights plugged into it. They are individual lights. If I back up here, you guys can see I've got 5 of them. Now that goes over the bench as well as over the toolbox. I'll go over the toolbox in another video. I'll be honest, you can never have too much light when you're doing gunsmithing, so that's why we went with what we did. Now, because of this is a switchable power strip, so all I got to do is just flip that switch. I don't have to worry about reaching up and using the pull cords. Obviously, if I am not down here actively working, I'm more than likely not going to want to leave anything unattended. Now, with the assembly of this, we did have to go through a few steps, right? We had to really think about how we wanted to put this thing together. So because of how heavy it is, if I had to guess, I'm probably pushing about 300 plus 400 pounds total on this bench. The top alone, I want to say, is probably 120, if not a little bit more. And then obviously you add in all the dimensional lumber and it gets pretty heavy pretty quick. So what we did is we assembled the legs, this side and the left side here. Assembled those first, brought those down to the basement. We also had assembled kind of our top substructure here. We've got a 2x6 cross member here, just again something so that I can screw up from the bottom into the countertop here, and that allows me to screw from the bottom. Obviously no exposed fasteners on the top, definitely don't want that. And then just adding a little bit of additional support underneath here, again just to give it a little bit more strength. So we assembled the top substructure, each of the sides, brought those down. I also assembled this base for the lower shelf, assembled that and brought it downstairs. And then these 3 pieces of 2x10s, that's actually part of the actual assembly process. So screwed and glued everything together. It took me probably a full, I'd say probably half to 3/4 of a day worth of gluing and screwing, figuring out dimensions, all that kind of fun stuff, to get to the point that I could attach the top. Now, as far as the top goes, we ended up having to, like I said, rip off that back piece there, stand it up on end. It is actually attached to some scrap 2x6s. This 2x6 goes down and is attached to the back side of this. From there, I was able to screw into the back, give me some support there. Also screwed from the back of the backsplash through and into the actual countertop. What that did is really sealed up this joint here. My cut was actually straighter than the factory cut, and even that was not 100% perfect just because of the variations in the wood itself. By screwing those together, it really sealed up that joint. I really didn't want to glue these 2 pieces together, and the reason for that is, let's say that back piece gets damaged, I can actually just take it and flip it around and screw, and I'll have a nice new fresh side facing out. Same thing goes for the countertop itself. If this ever gets damaged, I also have a second side. Obviously currently the bottom, I would have some holes in there, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's a workbench, right? It's meant to be beat onto. It's inevitable, right? It's a workbench. It's going to get a little bit beat up. Now, I mentioned earlier I only wanted the bench to be 30 inches deep due to ergonomics. And the reason for that is this is a standing desk, right? When you stand here, you want the countertop to be about level with your elbow. That's really a really good ergonomic elevation. And it's obviously going to vary from person to person. In my case here, I believe this is right at 42 inches. Now, because this is at 42 inches, if I stand here and I try to reach out, just standing up with my back straight, I'm not able to reach that backside. I do have to lean over a little bit. Now, I don't want to have things constantly rolling further out there. I don't want to be putting a lot of strain on my back. I'll be honest, I can stand here 6-8 hours and I'm perfectly comfortable. I can keep going. You know, you want to take ergonomics into account, especially if you're building something custom to you, custom to your space. You want to make sure that it's something that you're going to be comfortable running and using on a regular basis for an extended amount of time. Just take that into account. Now guys, it is a standing desk. It is comfortable to stand at. I actually prefer to stand most of the time. However, with that being said, there are times where you just want to sit, right? So that's when I went out and got a drafting stool. I want to say it was 120 bucks, something like that, from Amazon. I did put some upgraded wheels on the bottom. They're actually the rollerblade style wheels. I actually really like them. I've got them on a few chairs. So this is at full sitting height. Again, it's very similar to me sitting at just a regular bench. So there's no pros or cons to that. If I am working on really tiny little things and I really want to get closer, or I just want to be lazy, whatever, for whatever reason it's more comfortable to have the parts closer to me, all I got to do is lower the seat. I'm right here. You don't want to go any lower, else I'm basically going to be sucking up parts as I breathe. So the other thing that I did that you guys probably noticed is I did not finish the top of this bench. Good, bad, or indifferent, everybody's got their own feelings on it. Could I have? Absolutely. I've got several other workbenches that are finished for various reasons, but I just didn't want to, right? Again, it's a workbench. I intend for it to get dented, damaged, whatever. I really just didn't want to take the time to go through and finish it, and I know I'm going to damage the finish eventually, and I don't like that look. So I figured if I did that, it's actually going to bother me more than if I just left it bare and damage it that way. So with that, I do have to worry a little bit more about moisture hitting it. The wood will swell up if, say, I've got a glass and it's sitting here sweating. But that's just kind of the risk I take. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot else to say about the bench itself. Overall, the top, I want to say, was like 300, 350. As far as the dimensional lumber, I want to say by the time all is said and done, I've probably got about another $200 worth of screws, glue, and wood. If you just go out and go buy it brand new right now, I think the 2x6s were like 10 bucks a piece, something like that. So just to give you guys an idea of what it takes to put one of these together the way that I have it. I've seen guys work off of coffee tables. I did it for a long time. Kitchen tables, folding tables, whatever. You do what you got to do. But for me, and this is my hobby, I felt like it was worth the investment to go through and actually invest in a good bench that I don't have to worry about it shaking, rolling, coming out of level, anything like that. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. Hopefully this helps you guys out a little bit. We are going to have a few more videos coming up here that go into more detail about what some of the accessories are that we got. Like I said, the lighting you can never have too much, period. That's why I've got the 5 overhead, as well as this swing arm light. Flat out, you can never have enough. And I've still got a little headlamp, flashlight, stuff like that I use on a regular basis. Power strip, again, you never know what you're gonna need to plug in, but it's inevitable you're probably gonna want to plug something in. Those are the cheaper things for the bench. The other thing that I would highly recommend you guys look into is a vise. It doesn't have to be anything like what I've got. I will have another video specifically on the vise itself that I got. It's an Orange Vise Company, one of their high-end bench vices. Get a nice solid vise that you guys can crank on, right? If you're assembling ARs, you're gonna have a lot of torque that you're trying to put into your parts to try and put that barrel nut on. In my experience, that barrel changes are probably one of the heaviest things you're gonna have to do. Having a bench like this, I don't ever have to worry about the bench rolling, twisting, anything like that. So then the next weakest point is going to be the actual vise itself. You can go to Harbor Freight. I used to have a Harbor Freight cast iron, like 5 or 6 inch vise. Worked great for a long time. And there's no reason why it wouldn't work now. It's just I wanted to get the upgrade, so I did. I think it's Real Avid makes a little, a dedicated benchtop vise that you can actually just clamp onto your bench top. I know for what I plan on doing, I use a vise for almost every project, so that's why I got one that's permanently affixed. I do have it out of the way, right? So if I'm looking at my bench, I have more free space on this side of the bench, and because of the way that my vise is, it actually swivels, so I can actually loosen it up down here. I can turn this and I can have, say, my barrel going this direction, I can have it going this direction. It'll also twist this way, so I can angle it down a little bit if I need to. If you do get a permanently mounted vise, put it obviously far enough forward that you can easily use the handle on it. Mount it far enough back that you are over a post or solid mounting surface. You also want to have it far enough to the side where if your vise can swivel, you're able to do so and not have an obstruction on the side by any means, right? So I can turn this thing again 90 degrees and I know I won't right here. So hopefully, again, I hope this gives you guys something to think about when you guys are building your bench. If you guys have any questions, as always, feel free to leave a message below. Like, comment, subscribe. Definitely appreciate you guys doing that. It really helps us out. It doesn't cost you guys anything. So again, if you guys got questions, feel free to drop them below, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks.